Hello, Hassan Pfeffer here. Welcome to my demonstration of my extra credit sample quiz. Today I'm going to be going over how to solve my Perl quiz. This program we're about to write is actually inspired by a program I recently wrote using my newly acquired Perl and regular expression skills. Obviously, this version is sort of like without a lot of the extra bells and whistles, but it does essentially the same thing. I do a lot of work with CSV and text files for my job, and so one of the reasons why I took this course was to learn more about regular expressions, Perl, and Python. And as it turns out, I just really liked Perl a lot more, so that's why we're going to be doing a Perl program. All right, that said, let's get to it. So what we're going to be doing is writing a Perl program that will concatenate all the data in the provided CSV files into a single file. The program must massage the data into a specified format. The data that you'll be working with are class rosters. Obviously, the content of these CSV files are fake. No actual protected information is being used. Roster data stored in each CSV file has the following format. So you'll note that the first line is always going to be the class information line. This will be about the class, and all the subsequent lines are about the students enrolled in that class. So for example, this is the class information line, and there is no ICS 190, so obviously that's fake, and then there's our students enrolled in this class. The goal is to append the student information line along with the appropriate class information line on the same line in the destination file. So we want to have student information followed by the class information, and the data appendage should look like this. Okay, so you might notice that there's slight differences here. Some things have been trimmed off, and that's what I mean by massage. The goal here is to make this use this format because this will make it possible to import the data into an MS Access database, as well as working much easier in MS Excel. Okay. All right, so let's get started. Let's hopefully see if we can get our Pomodoro timer started. Oh, wow, it actually worked. All right, so I've broken up the program into 4 steps. Set up, create the destination CSV file, read and massage the class and student data, append the joined massage data into the destination file. Okay, so first steps, setup. All right, so we need to, in our working folder that houses our program, create a subfolder named CSV files and place all 5 included files in there. Note that one of these files is not a CSV file. This one here is a text file. Your program should ignore it, and we'll talk more about that in a bit. All right, so I have my working folder, and as you can see, I've created the subfolder with the 5 files in it. So now let's talk about this. So what we need to do now is actually figure out how are we going to create a file, and I've just Googled Perl create file, and Perl Maven actually has a nice example for us, and so right away we can see that this is what we want, and it's actually pretty straightforward. Plus we should always have strict and warnings, so let's go back to that and let's paste our there we go. Let's just paste our stuff in there. All right, so we do need to change some things, of course. We do need to change this. We want it to go into destination.csv. Okay. What else is different? Oh, we have a header that we want to add, so we should definitely make sure that we have our header, and we can copy paste that too. Okay, so now we open our file, and we do throw a die if something goes wrong. Now here, of course, we don't want this. We want to instead have it include our header. Okay, and then now this looks pretty good. So let's here now notice ls I don't have a destination file, so let's see what happens when we run our Perl program. And we have created a destination. Let's just check that out real quickly. Oops. And there you go. It has our header in it. So let's get back to our program and keep going on. All right, so now we come to the read and massage step. Okay, so we need to read all the CSV files and only the CSV files in the CSV files subfolder. And you recall there's a text file in there, so we need to do this and ignore that. So let's actually first figure out how the heck are we going to get all that data from our CSV subfolder. And so we need to, of course, know how to read a directory. And this looks promising from Perl docs. This looks actually really good. Here, yeah, let's just copy that. All right. Oh, and we will have to clean this up a bit. All right, so we're going to use open directory, and just like we had a file handler, we have a directory handler here. Now, this is important. We have this sumdir, and so basically what we need to do here is create a path. We'll continue with that, and the path is basically, you know, CSV files. There we go. Okay, and it's important to specify that we're going into the subfolder and not reading the working directory. All right, and we do want to change the name of that. CSV files, so it's more clear. Now, what's great about this statement here is that it makes use of the F flag, which says only look for files, which is why we, of course, are specifying that path. So it's only going to look for files. Now, this is saying don't look for anything that starts with a dot, but actually we can make use of this by going CSV, and we use the line ending character. And so now our thing should only look for files in this specified subfolder that end with .csv. Okay, and we should do a real quick print test just to be sure that is what it's going to do. And yep, and notice there is no txt file, so we know our program has worked and we don't need that no more. All right, so now we have a thing that gives us all the CSV files in our array, so we should actually now work through them. And so the best way to do that, of course, is a for each, and we'll call it for each my CSV. Let's see, and we want to sort. I'll explain why we're sorting. It's not required, but I wanted to sort for a reason, which I'll talk about later. Files, and then and it's always good to close, just so we have that kind of set up nicely. All right, so now we have our for each, so we can go through each one. So now we have to go back to opening the file, and let's actually go see how we get the contents. Perl read file into array. Let's see what what does good old Stack Overflow have for us? Yeah, and this will work like gangbusters. So let's actually just steal that real quickly. Oops. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so what we've done is we're going to now take in this to read our files. All right. We of course need to change this though to CSV. Okay. And then we now have chomp surrounding my lines, and what's awesome is chomp gives us a way to clear out all the trailing new line characters, but of course we should always include a die, you know, in case I cannot open, you know, the CSV. So there you go. Yeah, that looks nicer. Alrighty, and then, alright, so we now have our data. So the question is now what do we do with that data? So now we turn to the massaging bit. So the program must massage both the class and student information data. Remember, the primary goal is to extract the needed data, not validate it. And what I mean by that is basically it's obviously in my actual program, I go about validating this whole thing to make sure that the data matches, you know, but because we have limited time, all I want to do is actually extract the needed parts and try to make that as simple as possible so that we can get through this in a timely manner. So the key thing to note is we want to lose the red highlighted errors. So basically this first comma separated variable here should only be the 6 digits, and then of course we don't want the last 6 trailing commas. And so what we want to do is deal with the class line information first. And one of the great things about Perl is shift, which I'll talk about in a second. Class line equals, okay, and we go shift, and what you might call lines. All right, yeah, lines. And okay, so what shift is basically like pop, but instead of popping off the last item in a list, shift pops off the first item. And so since the first line of every CSV file is going to be the class information line, we can get the data that way. So now we have in my raw class line the class information line. Okay, so now we have to talk about how we're going to extract the necessary bits. And so first and foremost, we need to actually consider how to extract using regular expressions, because believe me, regular expressions makes this a lot easier. So let's go look for a way. Okay, so Perl extract substring, say regex. Okay, and then let's look at this, see what we got from okay, that maybe looks a little complicated. Ooh, regular expression extracting matches. Maybe this might be useful. Okay, so Perl makes it easy for you to extract parts of a string that match using parentheses around any data in the regular expression. That's true, that's the capture. For each set of capture parentheses, Perl populates matches into special variables. Scalar 1, Scalar 2, and so on. Perl populates those specials only when matches succeed. Oh, okay. So one of the cool things is we can actually use the, it looks like we can use regexes, and then it'll automatically send the data into these matching things. Obviously, this will be the first match, this will be the second match. And that's kind of nice. So actually, that tells us how we're going to do that, because we can use the matching thing. The question, of course, is what's our regular expression going to look like? So again, this is where we have to kind of look at the format of this class line. So let's real quickly, we'll create a my class extract. Okay, and it'll be a okay. All right, so let's look at what we need. So first and foremost, we know we need to get rid of, we don't need this 2 strings surrounding the 6 digits. So what we can do, and the easiest way to deal with a string is to just kind of think of it as the dot asterisk. Okay, and now we do the capture parentheses, and it's a digit, and there's going to be 6 of them, and we close the parentheses, and there you go. And right away we now have a way to capture that first thing. Now the subsequent thing we want to capture is all this stuff here from the following comma on, and let's see what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So there are 7 things, 6 strings, and this 45 digit thing. And one of the cool things we could think about is actually what we could do is, since we're not trying to again validate, all we're going to do is tell our program to instead just grab the next 7 of these, because again there are 7 things here, and then after that come these 6 unneeded commas. All right, so now what we do is we take our raw class line, we use the matching operator against the class extract, and like the the Perl tutor thing said, it's going to then send the first matching to scalar 1 and the second matching to scalar 2. And so what we should be able to do now is create our class line equals 1, boop, 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 and concatenate, and then 2. Oops, 2, sorry. And there we go. And that gives us our class line. Okay. Now we need to, of course, get ready to deal with the student information line. But it's important to kind of think at this point in time, because we're going to have to do another for each, because we're going to have to go through all the student information lines. It's probably a good idea to get set up and get ready to do our file handler that's going to actually write, or I should say append the data, right? And so let's kind of look into that, and we go Perl append to file. Okay, and once again, good old Perl Maven. And the key difference here is just like actually the earlier print, except the difference is we're going to use the double graders to do that. Okay, and so what we're going to do, sorry, I am all thumbs right now for some reason. Okay, and so let's and let's instead, what we're going to do is add in more. All right, and so this is setting us up for our thing. Now let's create our, hold on, there we go, for each raw student line, and it will be at, CSV. All right, so now we have to deal with our student lines, and student line is going to be pretty similar to just how we did with the class line, except it's a lot easier because it's just one big thing we need, because all we want is this front part, and we just want to ignore these last two bits. And so this one is actually going to be a lot easier to work with, and again we can like just sort of mimicking, we'll call this one the student extract, and again we'll create a regex expression, and what we're going to do is we're just going to take everything all the way to the until we get to yeah, basically the last two comma spaces. Okay. Oh, and I should probably add that and the line character. All right, so now we have that, and what we're going to do is we're going to go raw student line, and we'll use the matching operator against the student extract. And oops, I just realized I forgot the scalar symbol. Boop, 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 boop. Now the nice thing about this one, of course, is that there's only one thing to add. All right, and so now we have that, and this is where, of course, we need to now write to our file handler. Okay, and then oops, there's no comma. That's right. Okay, and so now we don't want to forget that we have to insert a comma here, because we need to join the two CSV lines together. Okay, like so, and then we'll end the new line character, and then of course this is where we type in our class line, and then we add in our student line. All right, and there we go. All right, and at this point we can actually just close our file handler. Right, and there we go. Oops, and let's not forget the semicolon. All right, so let's kind of look at our program again and see what we got. So hopefully this is good, and we'll try it out. Oops, we seem to have gotten something on line 43 and 46. So let's get back to that. 43, what did we forget on 43 for each? Ross, oh, we forgot to go my. Okay. And then 46. Yeah, that should do it. So let's get back out. And symbol my 43. Oh, CSV. Oh, I see. Oh, sorry. It's not CSV. It's lines. Alrighty. Can't open no such file or directory. What is causing that? Let us look into that. Okay, we still have 6 minutes, so plenty of time to try to figure out why it is saying that. Cannot open 2010. CSV, no such file or directory. Alrighty. Oh, over here. There's a problem here. What are we doing that's wrong? My handle. Close handle. Right. For each my line. Oh, I know what we're doing wrong. Haha. That's kind of a critical issue. This is where we need to specify that what we have here is in fact a subdirectory. So what I was telling it to do was to look for this file in the working directory when in fact it should. I needed to remind it, oh no, you're looking in the subdirectory. Alright. Okay, and let's real quickly take a quick look at our destination, and it looks good. Now, one of the reasons why I wanted the file sorted was because I actually already created by hand another massaged file to compare with, and so what we're going to do now is do called compare CSV, and let's do a diff as compare CSV against destination CSV. Oops, and something tells us there something didn't work quite right, and so that's important for us to keep in mind. What went wrong here? Oh, and right away I can see part of the problem. Okay, so let's go back to this. Is the fact that I have this reversed. This should be student line, comma, and then delete. Alright, and then let's rerun our program again. This time do it, and now we can see it matched. And let's check our time on our Pomodoro timer, and just barely enough time to just do a couple like housekeeping things like this. So let's actually break that up somewhat. Oops. Okay, so that's nice and neat. And That looks much better. Yes, much better. Okay, and let's just make sure we didn't break our program. Rerun it, and we didn't, and it still works. And there we have it. I hope you've enjoyed this demonstration. Thank you very much for your kind attention. Oops, I forgot to show you the time, so we are well under the time. And now, thank you for your kind attention.